It's Wednesday night, and you know what that means.
We're
live on the Big Mountain. Yeah, JY made me laugh right before we started.
Start over, Steve. You got it. I won't say anything. Go ahead.
Well, we're live now, so we might as well
just say live the right way.
We're live on the Big Mountain.
That's what I needed to get myself going.
This isn't a comedy show.
Yes, it is. We have fun on the Big Mountain. Yeah, I said things I shouldn't have said before we went live, and that's what happened. So, hey, welcome back to the Big Mountain on another live episode. We've got some fun stuff. I didn't put it on the topic list, but we do have another Dweller Brew to crack open. Yes. We told everyone last week we had another Dweller Brew. We're going to do that first, and then we're going to talk CFP second, and then we'll get to our picks. We're rearranging some things.
A little switch up tonight.
A little switcheroo. We've got three awesome standby dwellers, people that rarely let us down.
Yep.
Steven, J-E-H, and Bill, that college football guy. And Steven is still living large from his Bobcats beating the Red Hawks last night.
Huge win. That was huge.
Huge win. Huge win. Steve, you're already drinking. Okay, let me crack the damn thing open.
I can't wait.
Steve already cracked his because, as he said, he couldn't wait. We've got from Colorado State University. This is from New Belgium Brewery. The Old Aggie Superior Lager. Was able to also taste this via draft when I was at the New Belgium Brewery there in Fort Collins. And it was mighty good, and we got the Old Aggie here to enjoy.
I like it. It's very good. Just kind of like a light lager.
Yeah.
Then this is one of the coolest cans. I don't know if our producer's able to put
I didn't give it to him.
Oh, okay. So I'll hold it up here. But
here, look, we'll go super close. Check that sucker out. Oh yeah, baby. That's as good as it gets. And now I'm gonna crack because you've already cracked. We got it. Hold on.
This can looks like something my uncle and my grandfather drank in like 1984. It's pretty cool.
Okay. You're saying it's old school?
Yeah, it is.
I don't think we have a white can. Oh, we have the Texan Lager and the Penn State one's white-ish. My damn phone's going off. My Siri really likes to interrupt us when we're doing. You're pounding it, Steve. Hold on. Let me get a.
It's good stuff.
Cheers to New Belgium. Cheers to a lager. Lagers and pilsners, as I said it before. Lagers and pilsners are my favorite. And the Old Aggie Brewery. I'm not sure if it has any. No. Pretty clean can. Just got the logo stuff on two sides, and it's good stuff, man.
Yeah, I like it.
Can't get this on the East Coast, but they got it everywhere there in Colorado. So, all right, Steve. Well, now that we got that taken care of, the most important part of the night, cracking open our new Dweller brews.
Yeah.
Let's get into the CFP. We're going to talk both about the top 25.
Yep.
And then after that, we'll get into the rankings, or what do they call that? The bracket.
Bracket, yep.
Get the bracket. Let's talk top 25 first.
Yep.
So we'll throw that up on the screen. And we just did our power rankings episode that'll come out tomorrow. And not surprisingly, you talked about this on that ranking.
Yep.
Who's number 1 and 2 on our power rankings? Oh, wow, look. It's Ohio State and Indiana, or flip-flop, Indiana, Ohio State. And that's who's number 1 and 2 in the CFP.
Looks like we're a couple smart guys. They should put us on that committee.
Yeah, we've been saying this for pretty much all season.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest about that. So, did you get a chance to peruse the top 25, Steve?
A little bit. When it came out, was that yesterday, I think?
Yes, yesterday.
Yeah, I perused it a little bit. I was looking more at the bracket probably, but there was a couple surprises, a couple question marks I had in the top 25.
Okay. All right. Unfortunately, our computer just froze.
Oh.
So let me redo my doo-doo.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
Let me refresh is what I'm trying to say.
Always good to refresh. Well,
yes. So we do have storms going through the area yet again.
Yeah.
So, and it's windy.
Yeah.
So hopefully we don't lose you guys, but you never know with our wonderful internet.
Well, I do have a couple off of memory, a couple things.
My thing's not even resetting.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk about a couple things.
Please go for it, brother.
You talked about Indiana and Ohio State being the top 2, okay? And then after that, if I remember, there was a big stream of SEC teams. And so this kind of goes on a theme that we've talked about for 2 years now.
Yeah.
Is that like really top-heavy Big Ten. There's usually 1, 2, 3 teams right at the top. And then there's kind of a gap. And a whole bunch of SEC teams, They definitely have the higher end depth, I would say.
Yep.
Last year, for the Big Ten, it was Ohio State, basically Ohio State and Oregon, and maybe Penn State if you throw. They were like number 5 or whatever.
Sure.
By the end, and Indiana was way back, and so I think we're seeing a similar trend again this year. So that's gonna be really interesting because you have that ESPN spin machine.
Yes.
It's gonna be going and going and going, hard, trying to get 4, 5, 6 teams from the SEC in there,
right? And
explaining to everybody why a 3-loss SEC team should be ranked ahead of a 1-loss Big Ten team like we saw last year, something like that.
Right.
So we'll see how that plays out, but you can see Big Ten top heavy, got the top 2 spots locked up, and then it's a whole bunch of SEC teams. And I'm not saying any of those are not deserving because they're all some pretty good teams. Can we make that full screen on our end?
I can do what I can do. Well, you're surprised that good old Bama was at number 4.
I wasn't really surprised because since that opening week loss to Florida State, they have just been on a tear, just absolutely killing people. I think they have, if I remember correctly, their last 4 games in a row, they won to teams that are ranked in the top 25 in the CFP. They beat 4 of those in a row, which is pretty big, pretty huge.
Well, Steve, that's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Well, now I just screwed it up.
Yeah, So I don't think it was surprising there. I think that group, you could reorder those in the
I really screwed up.
I think you probably just should have hit the arrow thing before you did all the zooms.
Well, I was trying to get it big for you. I know you like it big.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so I'll be right back, Steve.
Okay. So yeah, I wasn't surprised by that at all. And there is a lot of SEC teams right there that are all really good quality. When you look at Alabama, you look at Georgia, you look at Texas A&M. I think it made a lot of sense. I was a little surprised by the placement of Notre Dame. They're really benefiting from not being in a conference again, like always. But also the games that they lost the first 2 games of the season, if I remember correctly. They lost games early, before the other teams got into the meat of their conference schedule. So they're ahead of some teams that I was kind of surprised about, for sure.
I'm coming, Steve, I promise.
Okay. Well, I think you need to reverse your... No, okay. All right. Okay.
I'm a big boy.
All right. So that was one thing, that I was a little surprised at, the placement of Notre Dame in comparison to some of these other teams. And I think, yet again, like we see this every year, Notre Dame does benefit from not being in a conference. And especially they have some of their harder games at the beginning of the year. So they take those early losses, but it doesn't really hurt them. Well, they beat Miami, have the same record, I believe, as Miami.
Yeah.
But they're ranked ahead of them. They lost to Miami. Sorry, Miami beat them, and they have the same record, but they're ahead of Miami because of the recency. Their loss happened way early in the season. Miami has lost games lately.
Right.
And I don't know if Miami's the best example because they have not played well lately, but there were some other teams that I was surprised. Like, why is Notre Dame ahead of them? Oh, because they're Notre Dame.
Right.
And that's not really me taking a shot at Notre Dame. That's just how it is. Like, and a lot of people say that it shouldn't be that way, or that the other team should just stop scheduling Notre Dame until they join a conference. Well, it's just never going to happen. It's not reality. This is the reality of the situation. How about you? Any surprises?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little surprised that BYU was all the way up into 7th, right? And I mean, I think that's great for them, but I thought that was maybe a little higher than what I was expecting. Maybe Oregon slightly lower than what I was expecting them to be down there in 9th. Notre Dame, yeah, I mean they're a 2-loss team, if I remember correctly. Yeah. For them to be number 10 right now, that's a little bit of a struggle for me. But in the top 25, I think the biggest thing is we don't have any G6 schools.
Yeah.
I think that's going to change. I was kind of tweeting about that here earlier today. I think we will obviously get a or maybe several G6 schools into the top 25 once things start to shake out just a little bit more. We'll get into who's the G6 right now in the CFP bracket here in just a little bit. But I'll tell you, when I look at this and you kind of like, oh yeah, that school's been good. I'm not surprised there. Of all the teams in the top 25 that came out, the team that surprises me the most, the logo that I'm seeing on the screen that I went, wow, who'd thunk they were going to be here? Pitt.
Yeah.
At 24.
Yep. They've been on a streak lately. They've been
Well, I know they
playing well.
have, but who the heck had them in the top 25?
I did not whatsoever. I think Notre Dame actually plays them yet this season, which that could be a huge game. Because if Notre Dame, it's kind of weird. If Notre Dame goes 10-2, they're just automatically in. They're going to like top 10.
Yep.
But if they go 9-3, they're probably out. It's like this weird dynamic. I want to say, because you mentioned Oregon.
Yeah.
And Oregon being all the way down at ninth.
Yeah.
The thing that hurts them, and I watched most of this game, was that Indiana going to Oregon, and I mean, it was absolute physical domination. Like, it was an ass kicking. The final score did not really reflect. Oregon was not competitive at all in that game. I think there was maybe like a late pick six or something in garbage time. I think that's why the score was a little closer, if I remember correctly. But I think that really hurts them, and which is crazy because Indiana's number 2.
Yeah.
But if any of the voters in the committee here saw that game, they're going to say, well, Oregon does not. Me and you have had Oregon basically right behind.
Yeah, they've been
Indiana
the 3.
But I think the committee does not. To them, they've got to be a lot of separation because of how much of an ass kicking it was, and it was in Oregon, in Autzen Stadium where Oregon dominates. Like, they don't lose there, so I think that's the big reason that pushed them down. And plus, like, there's all those SEC teams that
that they have to give their proper credit
Yes.
to. The only one I want to mention is USC, and maybe you talked about USC when I was angling with my computer.
No.
Are you surprised they're as low as they are? Because we have them as 4th.
Yeah.
We both agree that they're 4th best, and obviously you can see Iowa's right there, Washington's right there, but you and I both have USC being 4th. But they sit here in 19th, and you've talked about maybe the Big Ten getting 4 teams in. Is it just too early, or does that surprise you?
I think, well, if I remember correctly, USC has 2 losses.
Yeah.
One of them was to Notre Dame. So, that obviously puts Notre Dame above, before them, in front of them. And I think, honestly, part of it is they're going to give USC is in a position where if they went out, like, they have a hard schedule. They're going to Oregon. They have some other pretty tough games. I think maybe at Iowa coming up here soon. If they win out, I think they'll be up in that position to compete for the 4th. So I don't know if I'm necessarily, maybe a little surprised. Like, I would have probably, where are they at now?
19th.
19th. Yeah, I maybe would have had them like 16th, 17th.
Yeah.
But they have an excellent shot. Like, if they win out, I think they will be in. I don't know if they'll be in, but they'll have a really good shot. They'll be in contention for that 4th spot.
Okay.
And I will say this last game, and now I can't remember who it was against, but they didn't look good against Nebraska.
Right.
So
yes,
the recency
they
thing,
didn't beat the spread.
They didn't, and they didn't look good for most of the game
Right.
against Nebraska until it was like the 3rd quarter. Then all of a sudden, they went off.
Yeah.
So I think that probably maybe hurt them 2 or 3 spots because it just happened last week.
Okay. All right. Well, do you want to move to the bracket?
Yeah, let's look at the bracket.
Let's look at the bracket. So obviously you're going to know kind of who how the bracket's going to play out outside of really kind of that G6 team, which is Memphis. I'm sure everybody's already seen this. They know who it is. Memphis, we just did our G6 power rankings last week. Memphis was on top. We clearly agree that Memphis is the top G6 school right now, especially after beating USF, which
huge.
there for a while looked like USF was going to get the win, but Memphis, obviously coming back and winning that game. So they're definitely in the driver's seat here for the G6, but there's plenty of suitors or competition for them to have to stay ahead of. You look at right now San Diego State in the Mountain West.
Yep.
You look at possibly JMU in the Sun Belt. You look at a host of 3 other potential schools in the American that they have to play some of them and get the victories over in order to get that spot. So any surprises with the bracket? It kind of shook out the way I kind of expected it would.
Yeah, I think it's basically where I thought it would be as well. I don't think very many huge surprises. Just again, how top heavy it is with a couple Big Ten teams and then a bunch of SEC teams. I like we talked about earlier. I was surprised there was no G6 teams in the top 25.
Yeah.
But I agree with where they put Memphis in there, and I'm not sure if how that's going to work out in the American. But if we have if Memphis loses another game, or let's say we have Memphis and USF in an American championship game,
Sure.
Let's say USF beats them, will that automatically give kind of them that spot?
Right.
Or is that going to open up, Mountain West champion,
Yep.
maybe a JMU or something like that. But it definitely seems like whoever is the best team in the American kind of has the driver's seat. So I wasn't really surprised by that. And then the thing about the top four, again, it just highlights how top heavy the Big Ten is, and just how heavy the SEC and Big Ten are. They each have 2 in the top 4.
Sure.
Like that's pretty huge. Now we saw last year where those that played in the first round and had a home game ended up benefiting.
Right.
So that'll be interesting if we see that again this year. Last year, Ohio State they were not in the top 4. They had to play a home game. And I think that win in the first round at home really gave them a ton of momentum. They got fired up, got a lot of momentum, and that helped them run the table. So this year, with potentially having 2 SEC, 2 Big Ten teams, I'm really interested to see how that shakes out.
So are you happy with, and we talked about this some last year, but now that we can see a bracket that's straight seeding, are you happy that we did away with the top 4 conference champions gets the bye, or are you sitting here, like you just said, we're so top heavy, it's 2 SEC and 2 Big Ten. Is that further watering down, further separating, I should say, the big boys from the mid and lower level FBS conferences?
I'll say I have mixed feelings.
Okay.
Because I think this bracket, when you look at it, it is probably more fair of how good the teams are. Like if you're just saying I want the top 12 teams and nothing else, whatever, right, the way it's set up here is probably more fair in terms of that.
Okay.
However, if you're saying I want the 5 best champions, then I think it kind of it hurts some of the teams. I liked the idea. Boise last year, they darn near ran the table. They were 1 possession basically from beating Oregon, and I thought that they deserved the spot that they got. And,
sure.
And I think that was, instead of just assuming that all these other teams are better than a G6 champion, they actually had to play it off like that. But this, I think, overall gives you, it takes away those weird matchups. There were some weird matchups before. And this takes away that. So it really depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a tournament of champions, what they had before was better.
Yes.
If you're trying to reward winning your conference championship.
Yep.
If you just want the 12 best teams, I think this is probably closer to that in the way that the format sets up.
Okay. And I don't know if I have a huge opinion one way or another. If I'm guessing, I would think the ACC and the Big 12 probably don't like this as much because it's clearly separating them from the Power 2.
Yes.
We've been talking about that for forever. But the fact that they, it's a Power 4, but those 2 conferences aren't guaranteed a bye.
Yes.
I mean, that's to me what stands out the most. It would have been rare that a G6 school like Boise did last year had a good enough season to get into that top 4.
Yep.
That was going to be rare any year. We changed that so that even if it's rare, it never happens again.
Right.
We changed that. But if I'm the ACC and the Big 12, I don't think I like this.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, I don't care about either of those conferences, but that's my opinion.
Well, and remember the Big Ten was trying to push auto bids over the summer.
Right.
And you had all these conferences that were like, oh, that's terrible, blah, 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 especially the Big 12 and the ACC.
Yeah.
If you look at how we're trending with this, and I said this over the summer, I said, I don't know why those conferences were complaining, because there is no world where if you do it like this that they're going to get 2 teams every year.
Right.
Last year we saw the ACC get 2 teams,
Yep.
but I don't think the Big 12. I think the Big 12 just got 1, Arizona State,
Yes.
if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Well, look at how this is lining up.
Yep.
If it ended today, I think BYU and Texas Tech are the 2 for the Big 12.
Right.
But it looks like the ACC will only get 1 spot. And I think as we see more and more domination by the Big 10 and the SEC, that's going to happen more often too. Most years, those other 2 conferences are only going to get 1.
Yeah.
I don't see very many scenarios where every year they get 2. So I think if we play this out in this format for a few years, I think that might change how some schools look at it.
Yeah.
And if we continue to see, so last year Boise, they were kind of an outlier. They were
Yes.
pretty highly ranked as a G6, but in this case, there's not one G6 in the top 25.
Right.
But right now they're guaranteed a spot. That might also change their thinking when they start to see 2 or 3 years, like, we wouldn't be in this unless we're guaranteed a spot. So, I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other, but I think as we do this and it plays out longer, I think it may change some conferences' perspectives on how the playoffs should be set up.
All right, well, there they are. You'll hear our power rankings for the TBM. Of course, we don't include the SEC and the ACC. You guys know what we do on our power rankings, but we'll get them out tomorrow. Steve, it's time for some picks.
I'm ready.
I'm not sure I like how we switched it up. I thought this was going to be fun. It also didn't help that I was having technical difficulties.
Yes,
that threw me freaking
tricky.
off. But anyway, let's get to picks, because that's what we do.
Let's roll right in. I got the Big Ten this week, also with a few other ones thrown in there. I got two ACC picks, and I'm picking the American Conference as well. Total of 9 picks.
Okay.
I don't have all my stats from last week. I'm not sure if we're throwing those
Yeah,
up.
we do. Put them up.
All right, let's put them
Sorry.
up for it. Yeah.
See, I didn't write it down, so I forget.
There you go. Well, I know the most important stat. I went 3-1 in my locks.
Heck yeah, you're up to 500, Steve.
And I was basically a half a point, basically a walk-off. There was a walk-off touchdown, and they didn't require them to kick the extra point. So I was half a point from going 4-0. So that was kind of a kick in the nuts.
Oh, Big Mama lets me know that Alex Ovechkin just hit 900
nice.
goals. Thanks, Big Mama. I'm recording that, but you can tell me the score because they're not playing real well right now.
Are they playing the Pens tonight?
No, they're playing the St. Louis Blues.
Okay, I saw Sid Crosby had made a statement about Ovechkin and him, the significance of him hitting 900 and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, so as we get into this, I see Moses is on. He's a Husky fan, and the Huskies are playing. I think we'll get that score up. I don't like to hear what he's telling me, though, that they're getting destroyed, because I'm picking that game later on, and I did take the points with the Huskies. I'll just tell everybody right now.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how bad destroyed is, but before we started this, it was 7-3.
Yeah.
That's not a destroyed situation.
Right.
So maybe it's like 21-3 right now. I don't know.
Maybe 17-3, and that's kind of back to that.
Let's keep it close there a little bit. But anyway, I'm gonna peruse some of the comments here in the cellar, and I'll let you go ahead and start the picks.
So are we putting the stats up, or should I go ahead?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. We're really, really, really behind.
Oh, there we
They're
go.
probably up right now.
They're probably already seeing them. Yeah.
And again, if I refresh, I'll probably be even further behind. So we're just going to roll with what we got, Steve.
Okay.
But yes, you moved to 500, or I'm sorry, 50%.
Yeah.
500 in baseball.
Yeah.
On your locks, as everyone knows, I haven't done a lock for quite a while.
Yes.
But I'm going to let the cat out of the bag, Steve. I'm doing locks tonight.
Very nice.
Multiple locks tonight. I'm jumping back on that horse, like we talked about last week. So anyway, anything you want to talk about there?
No, again, everybody knows I really focus on my locks. I pick every game because I have to, because I said I would.
Right.
But the locks are the ones that's the games that I'm betting. That's the games I'm hoping other people bet. And my goal every year is to be, what did I say, 70% on locks,
Something like that.
Yeah. So there's still time. I may have clawed back to 500.
You've clawed back, baby.
And I'm going. I got 4 locks tonight. So if I can go 3-1 or maybe 4-0 again, I'll be even closer. So I'm ready to roll. Let's go right into it.
Okay.
Big Ten picks. The first game I'm going to talk about is a Friday night game. Northwestern at USC. Going to be in the LA Coliseum Friday night. USC is a 13.5 point favorite. I'm going to go ahead and take USC to cover the 13.5 points. I really highly considered making this a lock. But, looking back at Northwestern this season, they've been able to cover the spread. Just be like, a pain in the neck enough to stay within the spread a bunch this season. They played some scrappy games. They beat Penn State. They stayed within the spread of Oregon. So they've done that a lot. So I'm taking USC to cover the 13.5. However, I'm not locking that game. Now, moving on to the next game, Indiana at Penn State. We talked about this on our ranking show.
Yep.
I know you're interested in this. So the game is in Happy Valley in State College, Pennsylvania. Indiana's coming to town. Fortunately, I'm going to miss it because I'm going to be in Indiana, Pennsylvania for another event.
Oh, isn't that ironic?
It is ironic, isn't it? Jay Wise is an alum of that school, Indiana University of Pennsylvania, and I'll be there for an event for my daughter this weekend. So I'm not going to see this game, but Indiana's a 14.5 point favorite. They're coming to town. They've been beating the crap out of everybody.
Yes.
They have not really let their foot off the gas. There was one game, I think it was Michigan State. There was a long rain delay. They came back and finished the game. At that point, they were just, okay, snap the ball. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
So that's the only time really lately that they've let their foot off the gas. I'm taking Indiana to cover the 14.5 points, and I'm making that my first Big Mountain ice cold lock for week 11.
Well, as I said on your 10 Big Things episode, I got them in on Sunday at 13.5 and smashed it like I haven't smashed a bet all season.
Yep.
So when I saw it was under the 2 touchdowns, I went, oh, slobba ding dong.
Yeah.
And I went for it.
That's almost a mortgage play on that one.
Bet the house, baby. I didn't bet the house, but I yelled slobba ding dong.
All
and
right.
I put a lot of money on it.
I love it.
That's what it was.
That's what I heard.
That's what you heard down the street. That was me.
Okay. So again, locking Indiana to cover the 14.5, and moving right along to our other kind of number 1 team in the TBM power ranking. Spoiler alert: Ohio State is traveling to Purdue, and Purdue's a place they've come up with some upsets now and then. They upset an Urban Meyer Ohio State team 7 years ago. Big upset at night. They can pull some upsets. I don't think that's happening this week. Ohio State is a 29.5 point favorite. I'm not going to lock this because just going over 30 points on a lock is tough. So I'm just going to pick it for Ohio State to cover the 29.5 points. I think Ohio State will be able to score as many points as they want to. We're now into that stretch. The playoffs, the playoff rankings have come out.
Right.
I don't really see, unless they were to lose a game, I don't see them maybe dropping any lower than probably second, which still keeps them in that top 4, gives them a bye and everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know how aggressive we will see them. They've already kind of made their presence known, established their dominance this year. But so I'm not going to lock it, but I am going to take Ohio State to cover that 29.5 points.
So 3 picks, 3 favorites, and I appreciate the 1 lock. I like USC to obviously win the game, but right there at the 2 touchdown line, Northwestern's been playing decent this year. So I understand why you're not locking that. And 29.5, that's very scary for a lock, for sure. But I love your, unfortunately for you and your Penn State Nittany Lions, I love your Indiana lock. So
It is what it is.
I know you have more coming.
Yeah, so next game, and you said I picked all favorites so far.
Yes.
This one will be a little bit different, but not much different as you see. Maryland at Rutgers. I really think this game is basically a kind of a toss-up. It is in Piscataway, New Jersey.
You love it.
I love it. I love just saying that word.
I know.
The place is kind of a dump, but I like the word. So Maryland Terps traveling to Rutgers, traveling to Piscataway. Maryland is a 1.5 point favorite. I think this is mostly a toss-up, but I do think Maryland, I give them a slight edge because of Malik Washington, just a better, more dynamic, I would say maybe not better, but more dynamic quarterback that can beat you in different ways. I do like Calais McManus from Rutgers, but they have a terrible defense.
Yeah.
And I think Malik Washington will be able to get back on track against their defense. So I'm taking Maryland plus 1.5 points. It's a toss-up, really, but I like Maryland. I'm not going to lock this, obviously, but I definitely like Maryland to just win the game. So I'm taking them plus the 1.5 points.
Well, you are taking the underdog.
Yes, technically, yeah.
Technically. I think Maryland's played pretty decent ball this year. I don't mind that pick at all. And, it's 2 of your kind of lower... they're in our bottom third of our power rankings.
Yes.
So you're kind of your lower tier Big Ten teams. It's always nice when they play each other. So that hopefully it's a close game and they're not getting the crud kicked out of them by an Ohio State. But I like the pick. I take the point with the Terrapins.
Sure. Yeah.
The Terrapins.
Well, let's move on to what I think is maybe the biggest game in the Big Ten this week. Oregon Ducks going to Iowa, traveling to Iowa, which is never an easy place to win there. Yeah. Oregon is a 6.5 point favorite. Okay. I would probably pick Oregon all the way up to 9.5. Okay. But since they're under that 1 touchdown, if you can get it, I'm going to go ahead and lock Oregon we're going to make a Big Mountain ice cold lock for Oregon to cover the 6.5 points. Here's the thing. Here's the deal, JY.
Oh, I've been waiting for the deal.
Iowa, good, solid team.
Yes.
Nothing against them. I think they will do well. They'll be respectable. They'll lose respectively. They're going to have a good, solid game.
Yeah.
Oregon is a lot more talented. And I think Oregon, you asked me when we talked about CFP, what do I think about them being at number 9?
Right.
I think Oregon, Dan Lanning Oregon, are going to be pissed. I think they are going to come into this game very motivated. I think they want that first round bye.
Sure.
I'm sure they would also wouldn't mind hosting a first round playoff game at Autzen.
Yeah.
But it's more about the disrespect, I think, for them. And it's gonna Dan Lanning, when he wants to run up the score, like, he has no problem running up the score on anybody. And I think Iowa's just a good solid team, but does not have the high end talent that Oregon does. I think Oregon wins this game by double digits. At least by 10 points. I wouldn't be surprised. 13, 17.
Wow.
Maybe not go over 20. But I think they win this game very solidly, and that's why I locked Oregon to cover the 6.5 points.
Dang. But I hear you. I mean, and that's why I kind of brought them up when we were talking CFP. They can't be real pleased, I would think, at being 9. And
that line, honestly, like, if you looked at this early in the season, would you expect only to be a 6.5 point favorite?
No.
And yeah, Oregon lost to Indiana, but Indiana is kicking everybody's butts. So yeah, sorry, I cut you off.
Well, no, I was just going to say we have people that are rooting for the Hawkeyes in the chat. Flipper and JEH are saying go Hawkeyes. And what does Izzy say? No ice cold lock on who is Penn State's next head coach. Well, maybe we'll get to that later.
Yeah, maybe. Definitely not an ice cold lock, because I don't think even Penn State knows who's going to be the next coach.
Okay, so yes, I was... Oh, and then DJ's in the house. This should be a great game. Hope those Ducks do win. Yeah. Well, Steve thinks they're going to win big.
I do.
So...
And DJ, hey, sorry for what happened to your quarterback, Dylan Raiola, out for the season.
Yes.
I think he made some good strides this year. I'm looking forward to next year for the Huskers. I mean, I hope they close out the season well.
Sure.
But I feel really bad for the kid, and I'm looking forward to what happens with the Huskers next year.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, this next pick, Steve, I'm going to let you talk about it, but I was surprised.
Really?
Not by your pick.
Oh.
By something else.
Okay, all right. Well, Washington Huskies traveling a couple time zones over to play at Wisconsin in Camp Randall. Washington is an 11.5 point favorite. So, and here's the deal on this one, JY.
Tell it to me.
Again, Washington's so much more talent. It's a similar game to Oregon at Iowa, honestly. Washington, so much more talent. Wisconsin is nowhere near as good as Iowa, but they usually, they try hard. They keep things respectable. But for me, Washington has too much high-end talent for them. I'm taking Washington to cover the 11.5 points, and I'm making it another Big Mountain ice cold lock. Wisconsin is just not a good team this year. There's no, honestly, I think Oregon wins this by 20 plus. There's really no hope for Wisconsin at this point. They're not getting better. They're not necessarily getting worse. They just are what they are. And I think Washington is really going to push. They still have a chance at getting that 4th playoff spot, finishing strong. I think they also have to play Oregon. Like all these other teams are trying to make it, I'm pretty sure have to play Oregon. I think they come out here and try and make a statement. I know there is the travel. It's not the full East Coast travel, but it is to the Central Time Zone. But I think Washington is going to be motivated. I think they're more talented, and I think they beat Wisconsin by 20 plus points.
Well, my surprise is that the line's only 11 and a half.
Yes.
You mentioned that you think it's similar to the Oregon-Iowa game, and I think it. And then you kind of said, "Well, Iowa's nothing like Wisconsin,"
right?
And they're not.
But the lines,
the lines.
Yeah,
5-point difference. You're talking Oregon and Iowa 6.5. Mm-hmm. Washington and Wisconsin is only 11.5. When you sent me your picks, I'm like, he's got to have a typo here. How is this line 11.5?
It's crazy. It's ridiculous.
I'm blown away by this. I didn't get money in on that early. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I missed it or I don't know. Maybe I didn't look.
I think there's still time.
Oh, there's still time. Don't worry. I'll be betting this game. I can't go as heavy because I put a lot of money on that other game. But this line I loved equally as well. And I like to parlay or at least teaser some of your locks together. Yes. And I'll certainly be doing that with the Indiana game, the Washington lock, and probably the Oregon lock. I might take those 3 and teaser them together, Steve.
Well, JH says whiskey sucks, but he wants them to beat the Fuskies. I mean, I want $1 million and a new Ferrari for Christmas this year. I'm probably not going to get it. So I understand. I'm with you, JH. But honestly, I cannot understand this line.
No.
Unless Vegas just knows something that I don't. I think it's going to be a total butt kicking.
Bill, that college football guy, says 17.5 for Washington sounds more realistic.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yes.
be nearly as shocked if it was up in that 17, 18 area. And I'm not sure if you would lock it up in that area or not. But 11 just seems it's a touchdown low to me.
I think I would lock anything up to 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Over
Okay.
that, it'd be like do I lock this? Do I
Yeah,
not?
yeah,
It'd be a
yeah,
hard
right, okay.
decision. Up through like a 17.5, 18.5.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So next game, Nebraska traveling to UCLA to play in the Rose Bowl, which this might be the last year that UCLA plays their home games in the Rose Bowl. We'll
That's
see.
word on the street.
Yeah. So UCLA is actually, let's see here. Yeah, UCLA is a 1.5 point favorite, which that's really basically a toss-up game.
Sure.
I don't think it should be a toss-up game. I like Nebraska. I like how well they've played. They're coming right off of Dylan Raiola going out. Once he went out in the last game they just played against USC, I think it was, they were just not the same. They don't have those dynamic qualities on offense. UCLA, they're a different team than they were earlier in the season.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, they went on, a 3 or 4 game winning streak, and then they did play Indiana, got their butts kicked. Indiana kicks everybody's butt.
Right, exactly.
So I was surprised at this line. I would have had
Okay.
UCLA at like a 5.5 point with the combination of how well they're playing now
Right.
and Dylan Raiola
Raiola.
going out.
Right.
I'd have them probably as a 5.5 point favorite. So I'm taking UCLA to cover the 1.5 points, and I'm making that another Big Mountain ice cold lock. So that's 4 for me today.
You're on a heater. That's 3 straight.
Yeah, absolutely. And this game, again, I think it's just going to be tough for Nebraska to finish out this season. I think UCLA feels good. They're on a nice roll. Offense is clicking. This was a pretty easy lock for me, honestly,
Okay.
under the because of the
Right.
current circumstances.
Okay. All right.
If they had Raiola, to me, this really would be a toss-up game with maybe Nebraska being a slight favorite.
Okay. All right. We got some people, DJ's hoping his Huskers can pull out the win, but he wouldn't touch this one with a 10-foot pole,
Yeah.
being a Husker fan. I know we've got some Aztec fans up above. Wasn't able to get to the comments when we were talking about the CFP. I know we have a couple people just commenting about, one lost team, not giving a whole lot of love. You'll see the love we give them tomorrow on our show, and we know that the CFP committee watches our show.
Yeah.
So we'll get them there. You guys stay with us. STSU, Aztec Glenn, and Flipper, and anybody else that was talking a little bit about the Aztecs. Don't worry. People listen, and we'll open their eyes.
Yep.
All right, Steve. Well, you've got, 7 Big Ten picks, 4 of them being ice cold locks.
That's right.
Well freaking done. And this could do it, man. This could put you up into the. I mean, if you go 4 for 4, you're probably close to 60%
Love
at that
it.
point.
Let's do it. Let's go ahead and do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm down.
All right. Okay, so next picks. Those are all my Big Ten picks. I've got an ACC and American pick. So pick number 8 is the one. And I always love doing these. Florida State at Clemson. Okay. FSU.
Big Mama, listen up.
Oh, yeah, listen
This
up,
is a Big Mama alert.
Yeah, Big Mama might not be happy.
Uh-oh.
You
said that last week.
Yeah, and they weren't happy. No. FSU just got that. We'll call it a big win over Wake Forest.
Sure.
I think that's their first ACC win
win,
in like
yeah.
2 years. And they smashed them. They actually, I had picked Wake plus the points. It was a significant amount of points, but they totally smashed them. They didn't need them. And Clemson, I think Clemson maybe had another loss this last week.
Yeah, they did.
I know Dabo wasn't. I more saw the press conference. He wasn't happy. He was mad at everybody.
Very angry.
Yeah, he's mad at the refs. He's mad at his players. He's mad at the
I saw him
conference.
screaming at his players.
Yeah, he's just mad at everybody. He's just walking around with like the 2-finger salute to everybody. So I think this is a total coin flip game, honestly. Like, I don't know how you can analyze this game and say, yes, this team is definitely going to win.
Yeah.
Clemson being a 2.5 point favorite, that's basically a field goal at home. Like, that basically says it's a coin flip. So I agree with that. I don't really want to pick this game, but, I said I would pick Florida State games. So I'm going Florida State plus the 2.5. I'm taking the points. You can't trust either one of these teams.
No.
So I'm looking at this as a pure coin flip game, and if I can take a couple points, I'm going to. So that's what I'm doing. I'm taking Florida State plus 2.5.
Well, we've got people calling this the shoulda, coulda bowl, calling it the living in the past bowl.
Yeah.
And just kind of a ugly season bowl, honestly.
Yeah.
Both teams struggling to find their identity. You thought Florida State, they come out with that huge win against Bama, and you're like, holy crap, they're back.
Yeah.
And then they're not back. And then Bama, the complete opposite. You go, uh-oh, Bama's in trouble again, and they have just...
Crapped a bit.
No, Bama's kicked butt.
Bama. Okay,
I
yes.
flip-flopped on
Yes,
it.
okay.
And Bama's gone, woo, whoopee. I mean, imagine if Bama didn't lose that game.
They'd probably
I think they're undefeated, right?
Yeah, they would be right there with Ohio State fighting for number one.
And, it's kind of like, to go back to the CFP thing, them being at 4, it's almost like, because that was in week 1, and it's like they've overlooked that.
Yeah.
They don't care that they lost to, what is Florida State, 3-5 right now, or whatever? Like... They're like, it doesn't matter. That one's irrelevant because that was week 1 and this is Alabama.
If you can lose early, yeah, absolutely.
This is stupid.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Recency bias.
Okay, I'm done complaining. All right, Steve, you're doing one more.
Doing one more. I've been paying a lot of attention to the American this year. It was fun last year with Navy and Army doing so well. Army has not done well at all this year.
Right.
Navy's been okay. I mean, they had a nice winning streak, but now they're playing the harder teams.
Right.
They started to struggle a bit.
Yep.
So I've just been paying a lot of attention, and I think that they're probably the clear front runner for G6 playoff spot.
Yeah.
So this week I am picking Tulane playing at Memphis. Memphis, I was surprised at the line on this. I got to be honest. Memphis is only a 3.5-point favorite. It's at their place, so you'd think being at home is 3 right there. So really only a half-point favorite. I think is ridiculous. I like Tulane coming into the season, but they have not played well this year. I mean, they really have not played well at all. Even in some of their wins.
Yep.
So I'm taking Memphis to cover the 3.5 points. If this was a Big Ten game, I'd be locking it. I think Memphis wins this game by double digits, honestly. I think I already did bet this game once. I may lay another bet or parlay it with something. Because I think Memphis, from what I saw out of them when they beat USF at home, and yes, they were trailing early, but their home field is a good advantage for them.
Yeah.
They're playing well. Their quarterback is playing well. As long as he's not out. I haven't heard anything about him being out this week. We'll probably get the injury report stuff tomorrow, but I haven't heard anything about him being out. I like Memphis to win this by 10+, so I'm taking them to beat Tulane and cover the 3.5 points.
Okay, well... I know you mentioned was it last week or 2 weeks ago, you've been watching more American teams, and you stated how much different you have seen Tulane play versus what Memphis and USF, just two, kind of on two different levels in terms of talent and the way they're playing and all that kind of stuff. So to only be at 3.5 with Memphis being at home, I'm not surprised that you decided to go ahead and make this a pick for you, and also that you were taking Memphis.
Yeah, and you know what? You were talking about the recency bias. Well,
yeah.
Memphis lost, 3 weeks ago to UAB?
Yes.
Complete fluke, in my opinion now, after what I've seen.
Sure.
There was a coaching change by UAB. Memphis' quarterback went out, I think, in the second quarter and was out the rest of the game. To me, I write that off as a kind of a fluke game just because of the circumstances. But I think Vegas is holding that against them. Again, because of the time frame. If Alabama loses week 1, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Memphis loses week 8, and it's more recent. I think that's basically what kept them out of the top 25 rankings. If not for that game, or maybe if that was the first game of the season,
right.
they would be in the top 25 CFP right now. And the way they've been playing, their win over USF, they're just gobs and gobs better than Tulane.
Yep. I agree with you. All right, let's go to the Mountain West. I know we have Aztec fans in the house. We have Oregon State fans in the house. We have NIU fans in the house. If we have any other fans in the house, let us know. Mario, he's a New Mexico fan.
Be right back.
But they don't play. Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
And I do want to give just a quick shout out to a pod that we put out today. Got out my tour up in Wyoming. It's a really cool 9-minute segment, but I think you guys will appreciate that. So if you've not been up to Laramie and Wyoming, make sure you check that out. That came out earlier today. Our producer did a bang-up job on it, as he always does. And I think you guys will like that. And also, as I said, we'll be doing our power ranking episode tomorrow. So with that, let's get to it. Mountain West picks. We're going to start with the Air Force at San Jose State. And this line is only 5.5. This really surprises me because San Jose State has one of, or in my opinion, the best passing offense in the Mountain West, and they're going against the worst secondary and pass defense in the Mountain West. I was very surprised that this line is only 5.5. The game's in San Jose State. We just saw San Jose State beat Hawaii, who is a very solid team. So I've got to take the Spartans here minus 5.5. I said I'm hopping back on the horse, and I will. I'm locking the Spartans with an ice cold lock. Again, I think this passing game, far too dangerous for the Spartans. Walker Egan, outside of his first game jitters that he had against Central Michigan, has been on absolute fire. Danny Scudero is, frankly, they should just pass to this kid every play of the game. He'll probably score 5 touchdowns and have over 300 yards. That's really all they need to do, and I'm sorry, Air Force. You guys already know this, but you don't have a passing defense. And I think this is going to be a really hard game for them to win. I love San Jose State, Steve. 5.5. Can you believe that line? And I locked it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a little surprised at that line.
Sorry, you just got back and I threw it to you.
No, but yeah.
I was talking really loud so you could hear me.
I was also really surprised by that line. And again, I really think, I don't know that Vegas pays a ton of attention to G6 teams all the time.
Yeah.
And, San Jose State had those early losses, and they just haven't been, they haven't won a lot of games this year. But their offense is really, really potent, especially when now the way it's rolling. And you probably know this Air Force team better than Vegas does, and you know how bad their passing defense is.
It's bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. We watched live at the Naval Academy. When you're in the booth, you can see the whole field. And I mean, it was just like separation, like 2 yards past the line of scrimmage, and the Navy receivers were just 5 yards past the Air Force defenders. So it is what it is. San Jose, really good passing offense. Air Force, really bad passing defense.
Also with this, I'm going to take the over in this game, 66.5. So the lock is on the spread, not on the over. But I like the over. To me, the only way this over doesn't hit is if somehow Air Force just decides to be the old Air Force and run the ball. Right. But if they're going to be down, like I think they're going to be down, that's not going to work for them if they want to try and win the game.
Yeah.
That's going to be at the end of the game when they just want to get the heck out of San Jose. So I like the over. I think there's a lot of points scored here. And San Jose State's shown that they can kind of give up some points. You saw that against Hawaii.
Yep.
So I like the over in this game, but I love that 5.5 for San Jose State. Let's get to the next game. Nevada at Utah State. The line here, 9.5. I think this is a solid line. Nevada has a good defense. They've had a good defense the entire year. They haven't had much of a good offense. They turn the ball over a lot. And Bryson Barnes, I think, is just going to be too much, even for this good defense. I'm going to take Utah State minus 9.5. I kind of like the line. I think Vegas has this pretty close, given where Nevada's defense has been at. But being in Utah State, and with the Wolfpack just struggling offensively, they're a one-win team. I have been saying for, I don't know, at least 5 or 6 weeks now, I'm not sure they get another win.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think they win this game. And I think Utah State covers the spread here, Steve. And, I want Nevada to get another win or two. I really do. It's not this week, and I'm not sure if it's any week in 2025.
I really thought I'm a little surprised that you didn't lock this game. I really thought this was one that you would have locked.
Yeah.
I know how much you like Utah State and Nevada. They've just struggled this year. They do have a decent defense, like you mentioned, but nothing really on offense that you can hang your hat on.
Good to have Hard Rockin' in just in time for the Mountain West picks. He also agreed there would be a lot of points in that San Jose State game. And yes, Flipper, Air Force always runs the rock. They rarely pass. Not this year. They pass quite a bit this year.
Have you watched them this year?
Yeah, Zarka, they're actually better off passing, quite frankly, this year.
Can I throw something in real quick that I wanted to say earlier?
Yeah, go ahead.
So we were talking about me watching more the American Conference this year.
Yep.
And the last couple of years, I've been watching more Mountain West because of our show.
Sure.
I've really noticed this year because I watched the Big Ten games. But I've noticed this year, if you want to be a G6 person, the American, most of their games are early in the day. you can watch American games all day, and
Yeah.
then there's like a transition point where Mountain West really kicks in,
yeah.
and they got games starting at 10:30 at night. Like
Right.
if you want to watch from noon until midnight and watch G6, you can watch. And those to me are the two best conferences of the G6. I think, at least up through this point. You can watch a lot of G6 games, especially now. I have YouTube TV this year, and I have the
Yes.
multi-view. It's been fantastic. So
Yes.
I just want to throw that out there.
I'm a little jealous of your multi-view. I may need to
It's nice.
invest in said multi-view. All right, let's go to the next game. UNLV at Colorado State. UNLV, of course, coming off the loss to New Mexico last week. Colorado State coming off a bye after their loss up in Wyoming, the game I was at.
Yep.
Shutout against Wyoming. This line only 4.5. I'm not sure why it's only 4.5. UNLV has far too much offense. Remember, Wyoming beat Colorado State 28-0.
Yes. Yeah.
UNLV has a better offense than Wyoming. Everybody knows that. So how Vegas thinks this line is only 4.5 is beyond me. I guess it's biased that UNLV is now losing all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But dude, I don't get this line, and this is my second Big Mountain ice cold lock.
Love it.
Got to take the Rebels here. I think they come back with a vengeance. CSU doesn't have much offense. They haven't been able to score a whole lot of points. They did in the Fresno game. Again, we talked about how Fresno, like I just don't understand what the heck happened in that game. To me, that was more of a one-off. I think UNLV just runs and throws and squashes the Rams in this game. So that's my lock. I'm also going to take UNLV to be over 34.5 points. That's for the team, not for the game.
Yeah.
Team over 34.5. I like them to score 35 plus in this game. They've done it for most of the season. There's only been a few games they've been under 35 points. I don't see the Rams stopping them from scoring probably 3 touchdowns in each half, quite frankly. So I think they're into the 40s in this game. I'm going heavy UNLV. I think they have a big bounce back in this. And since we're talking about Colorado State, real quick, I just want to mention, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, we will be showing the Colorado State New Mexico football game on our pod, streaming it live. This past Saturday, we had UNLV versus New Mexico, had almost 2,000 people watching the stream on both our YouTube channel and on my X platform. We had a fantastic time, did halftime shows, had all kinds of chats going. So mark your calendars. If you're not going to a Mountain West game, mark your calendars for this game, or for that game here on the 15th. Colorado State, UNM. Join us on the Big Mountain. It's a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun this last time, and I was only there for about a quarter and a half. But it was tons of fun. All the comments and the viewership just kept going up as a really good game just kept going on. And it was just a fantastic experience. And all those dwellers and soon-to-be dwellers, future dwellers, all participating in the conversation.
So Flipper did say no, he hasn't watched Air Force at all this year.
Yeah.
So you need to not talk about them running because they are passing more. Just letting you know.
Yeah.
They're passing a lot more. Zarka's got an arm.
Yep.
And, JEH really wants to know if Michigan State's going to win or lose this week, Steve.
I saw that.
They get a push, don't they? They get a push.
Well, so here's the thing.
They kiss their sister.
Here's the thing. JEH, there is no one better at being petty against a coach and a team you don't like. He just consistently keeps bringing it. I love it.
Yeah.
And yes, Michigan State will not win this week or lose this week because they're not playing. And I don't know if JEH saw last episode, if he was on. I can't remember if he was live the whole time. But I mentioned John Smith as being one of the potential coaches on the hot seat. Here's what's going to be really ironic. I think it's much more likely that after this year that Jonathan Smith gets fired than Wisconsin coach, what is his name? How am I forgetting this? Luke Fickell.
Luke Fickell.
Yeah, when everyone's been calling for Luke Fickell.
Yeah.
And it's mostly due to like a financial thing with Wisconsin and then just how they operate. But I think I will tell JEH right now, if I had to pick between the two, I would put my money on Jonathan Smith being fired before Luke Fickell is.
All right, so a couple things here real quick. There you have it. Heard it there first.
Yep.
Couple things here. We have a couple commenters. Hard Rockin' thinks UNLV bounces back. Flipper likes the Rams. Lawrence says go Rebels. And JEH likes the Rams, but JEH likes anybody that's going to be in the pack.
Yes,
I've noticed
yes.
that. He cheers for all future pack members. He's biased.
He is consistent with his loyalty.
He's consistently biased.
Loyalty towards some teams and anger towards others.
Yes, that's right. And I agree with you. I mean, we're never disappointed. When JEH is in the chat, we're never disappointed. So thank you for never disappointing. Flipper asked about our record on picks. Yeah, if you go back to right after we talked about CFP, we talked about those, but I will let you know, Steve right now is 50% on his locks. That is what he focuses on. And he has 4 this week. He started off not so great this year, but the last few weeks he has been digging out of his hole.
Yep.
He's literally break even right now, and he's going to start building the pyramid, building the skyscraper.
3-1 last week, going to go 4-0 this week.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I think I was 54% on my Mountain West picks. I don't do a lot of locks just because I just don't. I'm under 500 on my locks. I've only done 8 so far this year.
Yeah.
But I think I'm 54% on all of my Mountain West picks. That includes over-unders. And I have been in the 60s for most of the season. The last few weeks I've tailed off slightly. Last week I was 2-5.
Yep.
That's not acceptable, dang it.
Mountain West has been topsy-turvy this season.
Yeah, but anyway, so Flipper, I gave you the Reader's Digest version, and hold your daggone horses. I'm getting to San Diego State next.
Just right before you do that, JH left us another couple comments, and he doesn't disappoint. It's
Now what'd he say? What am I missing?
So down here at the bottom, John Smith being fired, rolling on the floor, laughing his behind off. Don't think of coming back here to Corvallis.
Speaking of coming back to Corvallis, there was a tweet, and I probably shouldn't even say this because I have no idea how legit this person was. They've got like 20-some thousand followers. Look at our producer. He's throwing it up there just for you, Flipper. You can put a thank you in the chat for us, Flipper, because he's awesome. But
PW Productions.
There was 2 names that they brought up as the next coach to in Corvallis.
Yeah.
One of them, a coach we've had on our channel, Brennan Marion, Sac State.
That would be interesting.
I threw out a couple DMs to see how, is this real?
Yeah.
I don't know. I find that a little hard to believe, but I don't know. That's a name that came up.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay. There we go. Thank you all. You're welcome. There you go. In all caps, producer, that was for you. If he gave you, I was hoping he'd give a little kissy emoji. But that's okay.
If people want to see more of the work of PWB Productions, our producer, they got to check out the video, the Wyoming video that just dropped, and the Tarleton State video that just dropped.
Yep.
If you want to go back a little farther, if you're a UNLV fan, the one we did over the summer, and we just took pictures and stuff. He did all the magic.
He does all the magic. Yep. We have, over the last 3 months, we have a UNLV facility tour, a Wyoming, and a Tarleton State facility tour. So if you're wondering why we keep talking about Tarleton State, check out the channel. You can see all the cool stuff. I understand, Flipper. I get a little excited sometimes, especially after I have an old Aggie or 2. Okay, let's get to what you've been waiting for. I've belabored the point enough. San Diego State at Hawaii. I think this should be a very good game. San Diego State's defense is phenomenal. Jay Sawvell, the coach of Wyoming, what he said after that game about the San Diego State defense, he couldn't have been any more complimentary of that team. And he said, he's been in the Mountain West, I don't remember how many, 8 years now, coaching on the sidelines. He was a DC before that. He said that is the best Mountain West defense he has ever seen play. This Aztec defense. They're that good. And they got players all over. It's not like they just have a front or they just have a secondary. They're awesome all over the freaking field. And they open. I will say I've been down on them a little bit. Yeah. I haven't watched a ton of Aztec football. It just hasn't been on when I'm watching some other games. They blew me away. Not that the Wyoming offense is great, but man, they gave them nothing. And you commented about that too.
Yeah.
So,
and I'll just add, because we've talked about, with Coach Sean Lewis, supposed to be an offensive-minded coach, their offense has not come up to speed as quickly as he would have liked, and Aztecs fans would have liked.
Right.
And so we talked about how strange it's been that defense is really what's
right.
But I think back to Brady Hoke, the pass coach, was more of a defensive minded, run the ball, play good defense.
Yeah.
And honestly, this year's, we're now 2 years removed from that. And this year's defense for San Diego State, in my mind, is definitely better than Brady Hoke's last year.
Yes.
Maybe more comparable to like the year before that or whatever. I mean, it's firing on all cylinders. And not only do they have the best defense in the Mountain West, like I think it's comparable to the Power 4 programs, maybe not the very cream of the crop, but at least we'll put them in the middle of the pack in the Power 4 programs.
Well, and they've had that base since Hoke left.
Yeah.
Like they've had a good defense. It's been the offense. Like everybody knows what happened last year in Aztec Fast. It didn't happen, quite frankly. And Lewis was very upfront when we talked to him at Media Days. That was on him, but this is his team, and man, they've had that base defense, but they've built on a good base that they had with that defense. So let's get to my pick. I'm taking the Aztecs -6.5. I think this defense is just too much for the young quarterback at Hawaii. I think they disrupt him far too much. You saw, Alejandro is a better QB right now than Anderson is, but Anderson, even if he had time. Which he didn't have much. Nobody was open. Nope. I will say Hawaii has the best receiving core in the Mountain West.
Yep.
So if the receivers can get open quickly, Alejandro can find them.
Yep.
So that is, to me, the key to the success for Hawaii here is going to be that passing game and quick outs. And with the receivers they have, they can do it. But if being a betting guy, this defense is far too good right now for me to bet against. So I'm going to take the Aztecs -6.5. I kind of like the line at a touchdown here. I like where that's at. I don't think it's a blowout because I don't think the Aztecs have an offense to blow anybody out, quite frankly. But I like the Aztecs here at 6.5. Let's get to my other picks. JEH, yes, I am picking your Oregon State Beavers. But you're not going to like what I'm picking because I'm actually going to take the winless Sam Houston State. What the hell are they? Bearcats.
Yeah.
The Bearcats plus 20.5. I struggled a little bit with this. I just don't trust an Oregon State offense in this game. And I know the Bearcats are struggling mightily, but I got to take 20.5 points if this game's going to be remotely close, which I think it could be. Sam Houston State has shown that they can score some points. And so, JEH, you can hate me. I understand. But I've got to take 20.5. Too many points for me to leave on the table in a 0-8 matchup versus a 2-7 matchup or whatever it is, right? It's too many points.
In his heart of heart, I don't think that JH is actually going to be that mad about this pick because if I'm assuming right, you think that Oregon State, the Beavs will win the game.
I think Oregon State will win.
You like getting all of those points against them. And honestly, this is another chance for the Beavs to pick up a win. They beat Washington State. They've got how many wins on the year? 3?
Who?
The Beavs.
2.
Okay. So it's just another chance for them to pick up a win. They should win the game unless it's an absolute disaster. I don't find fault at all with you taking the 20.5 points. I think the Beavs win this game, and I think they win it comfortably, but 20.5 points is a lot of points. I could see this game as a 17-7 game or something.
Hell, even if it's 23-3,
right?
I win my bet.
Yeah. So
23-3.
I
don't think that's out of the norm of possibility.
No,
30-10.
I can't fault you taking the 20.5 points because, like you said, you just can't have the confidence in the Beavs to score enough points, that many points to outpace them by 20.5.
Well, thank you, Flipper, for getting it. He thinks Oregon State will win, as do I.
Yep.
But obviously can't kind of fault me for taking the 20.5.
Yeah.
What's Jay White? Can you say came off a loss to the Lobos again? Yes, UNLV is coming off a loss to the Lobos.
He just likes that. He's a
Lobo guy. He hey, you got to take it while you can. And dare I say at this point, the bowl eligible Lobos. And how far can they go? That's the question. How far can the Lobos go?
There's 6 or 7? How many wins do the Lobos have?
6.
Yeah, okay, so they just got 6.
Yeah, they just got 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's 6 teams that have come off a loss to Lobos this year.
That's true, including UCLA.
Yeah.
So my last, I got UTEP left. I got UTEP, and then I got NIU, and Moses was right. The Huskies are getting destroyed.
Yeah.
My pick's going to lose.
Yeah, whatever.
We'll get to that at the end. Jack State at UTEP. The line only 1.5. I was a little confused by this line. I hope the best for the Miners. We're supporters of the Miners. They're going to be joining the Mountain West next year. But I got to take Jack State at -1.5. It's a pick'em game. I know it's in El Paso. I love the fact that they went back to Locklear.
Yeah.
I think that's their best chance of winning right now. You know, they gave
Nelson.
What's his name? Nelson. To me, multiple chances. I think they could have pulled him before they did.
Oh, absolutely.
So they gave him plenty of chances, plenty of opportunity. They're back to Locklear. I do think that gives them, again, the best chance. But I got to take Jack State here in this at -1.5. I'm hoping for the UTEPs, but that's not how I bet on a hope. Last one, Steve. NIU versus Toledo. You can see it up there at the top. Getting destroyed are the Huskies. I took the Huskies at +14.5. I liked getting the 2 touchdowns. I thought maybe this defense. I knew Northern Illinois wasn't going to score a lot of points. They haven't scored a lot of points all freaking season. I thought that the defense, they do have a good defense. I mean, heck, Northern Illinois and San Diego State was 6-3 for crying out loud. If you remember that, only about 4 or 5 weeks ago. But I thought the defense could maybe hold this close enough to win that. I knew I figured it would be a close-ish spread. So I kind of took the points, and clearly this is going to be a big L. You can see the scoreboard. I have nothing better to say other than I was putting my money on my bet pick on the Huskies defense. Clearly that was not a good idea.
And it's always hard to tell with these type of games where one team's definitely like a lot better than the other, and it's hard to tell sometimes. Okay, are they going to win by 15 or are they going to win by 30?
Right.
Yeah. So it is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, there are picks. Hoping we do good, Steve. I love your locks. I really like your locks. I mean, I got to go put more money down because, I only took one of them, and I like all 4 of them, quite frankly.
And a lot
of I'm going to do that teaser on them too.
Yeah, and a lot of it is just about the lines. Like it's nothing about me It's the Vegas lines seem to be off on these.
I agree with you. Somebody asked us to maybe do an episode or talk a little bit about like betting terminology and stuff. So parlays are just when you take different spreads and you add them together. You say, okay, I think, for example, I'm going to take Indiana -14.5. and add that to Oregon at -6.5 and Washington at -11.5. And you combine those 3, which gives you much better odds.
Yes.
But you have to hit all 3 in order to win. It's a winner. It's an all or nothing bet.
Gives you longer odds, but they pay out better.
Oh,
Just
what did I say?
You just said better, but they might not understand what you mean. It gives you longer odds.
Right.
But
I can't do the math right now. But let's just pretend every one of those bets is a -110.
Right.
Right. So -110. When you combine them, it might be a +330 or something. I have no idea. I don't know how. I don't remember how it works out. That's why I use my app. I stick it in there. It tells me what it's going to be. But it may. But then you have to hit all 3 of them.
Yes.
It's going to be more than 330. It would probably be like 500 or something like that, +500. But you got to hit all 3 of them. There's also, I say teasers. The teasers, which some people will say are sucker bets. What you do, you take the same 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever you want to take in a parlay, but then you got to go to a teaser where the teaser allows you to kind of move that spread up or down a little bit. So like you can add a few points or subtract if you think the games are going to be even more spread, even more of a schlobber knocker. How do you call that? A butt whooping.
Yeah.
You can make the spread even bigger, which even gives you greater odds, which wins you more money. I don't do that. I shave a little bit off.
Make it a little easier.
Make it a little easier so that if they're supposed to win by 6.5, but they only win by 5, and my teasers them down to like 3.5, 4.5, you still win. But it's the same thing. It's still a parlay. You're just teasing it down. Now, you don't really even need to do that anymore because they pretty much offer alternate lines on like every game. I don't even think they did the alternate lines for everything last year. I think they did it for like the power. Now, like college football, at least on FanDuel, which is what we use.
And specifically in Pennsylvania. There are different restrictions in different states.
We get alt lines for almost every game.
Yep.
And I think for the most part, you'll get better odds if you just pick the alternate lines. For example, instead of 14.5, I'm going to take them at 12.5. Instead of 6.5, I'm going to take them at 2.5. And X, Y, and Z, and then parlay that together. I think you'll get better odds. I've never really tested it, but I
Yeah.
think that's true.
And I think the betting experts will say that that's actually the better way to go because it helps you more. And the reason they call parlays and teasers and all those things the sucker bets is they kind of the way they do the numbers, they kind of will confuse you into thinking you're taking a better thing. But if you just did each game straight up with like alternative odds, you would do better.
Yes, and what is that? Electro? She says Vegas set odds to encourage even betting on both sides, not what they think the score will be. So, well, they come out with that and what they think is going to be even betting, but that's why you get movement. So, for example, when Indiana came out at 13.5, people started throwing money on the 13.5, so they had to move the line up to 14.5. They may end up moving it to 15.6. They move it so that to that point, so that there is kind of money coming in on both sides. They're not gonna lose.
Yeah,
They're gonna win money no matter what.
And so I will say, because I've always thought I forget who made that comment, but I just listened to the head of the MGM Sportsbook.
Okay.
He was on a national podcast, and he was saying that's always been the thought or the kind of the myth about how they start them.
Okay.
But he was saying they actually start them to the point where they think if there is even, it's not quite the way he said it. He said they start at a point where they think if there is even betting that they will win because they don't want to break even. They want to win money. True. But then they will change the odds as more money comes in so that they're not too far off where they risk a catastrophic loss.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we probably just confused everybody on that because I'm not the best at it. You can Google it if you want to, but parlay basically is just combining bets together. You got to hit them all. There's round robins. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do. We're not going to get into that.
And if you go on the apps, like we use one in particular, but if you go, they almost teach you like you go through all the different options, see what the lines are, the numbers.
I may have used the word shaving. I don't know if I did.
It's not a good word to use.
I don't think I used that word. He says they're talking about shaving. No, I think that was a joke. Yeah. But I get what he's saying because you're maybe I did say shaving. I don't think I said shaving. But anyway. So anyway, there are all of our picks. Thanks for hanging in there with us. Smash that like button on the way out. Remember, set your calendars. If you're at home watching college football on your TV, have your computer right beside you on the 15th. We can watch the CSU UNM game together. It's a lot of fun. So with that, hey, thanks you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time on the Big Mountain.